have two stories today about transportation again. One is real, one is pretend. Can you tell which one would be real, which one would be pretend? Let's start with this one. Real or pretend? If you said pretend, what would be your clues? There's a clue right here. Do bears use spoons? No. Do bears use a plate? No. Do bears know how to light a candle? No. Do birds wear little tiny hats like that? No. This is not real. It is pretend. It's fake. What's Mrs. Casamasa's library word for something that's pretend or fake? Did you say fiction? It is. It's fiction. It's called Mooncake. The title is Mooncake. It's written by Frank Ash. He wrote the word, so he's called the... Yep, he's called the author. And he drew the pictures, so he's called the... Yep, illustrator too. He's the author and illustrator. Mooncake by Frank Ash. Oh, and look. There are pictures of nighttime with stars in the sky and the moon. This one has a tree that has lots of leaves. I bet that's summertime. And then this one has a tree that has colorful leaves, and they look like they're falling onto the ground. That must be fall. Oh, there's a tree with no leaves, and there's snow on the ground. That must be winter. And then there's a tree with little tiny buds. That must be springtime. That's what it is right now. It's the season of spring. Well, this story starts in the summertime. One summer night, Bear and his friend Little Bird sat down to watch the moon. After a while, Little Bird said, "I think I feel hungry."
"Me too," replied Bear. "And you know what I wish? I wish I could just jump up and take a bite out of that moon. How delicious that would be."
"How do you know?" chirped Little Bird. "Maybe the moon doesn't taste good at all. Maybe it tastes terrible." Bear thought for a moment, then he went inside and he got his bow and arrow. With a piece of string, he attached a spoon to an arrow. Oh, what is that silly bear going to do with that bow and arrow, or bow and spoon? Then he went outside again, and he shot the spoon at the moon. Did he make it? Looks like it's going right into the water. "I knew that wouldn't work," said Little Bird. "The moon is too far away. What you need is a rocket ship."
"Then I shall build one,"
said Bear. The very next day, Bear went to the junkyard and bought everything he thought he would need to build a rocket ship. You have to go to school for a very long time to learn how to build a rocket ship. It's not that easy, but look, Bear's doing such a nice job. All summer long, Bear and Little Bird worked and worked, but when fall came, the rocket ship was still not finished. "I'd like to go with you," said Little Bird, "but winter is coming and I must fly south with my flock." So Bear and Little Bird said goodbye. There he is. Bye, Bird. When it began to get cold and the leaves fell off the trees, Bear got sleepy. Oh, bears do get sleepy in the fall. What do they do? Yes, they hibernate in the fall. And they sleep all the way through the winter. But instead of climbing into bed and sleeping through the winter, he kept right on working. He worked and worked and worked until the rocket ship was finished. I don't know. I'm not seeing any engines down there. Oh, but there he is. He's climbing into his rocket ship. Then he climbed inside and he began the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Before he reached 1, he fell asleep. Because you know he's supposed to be hibernating. He slept and he slept and he slept. Oh, doesn't look like it's fall anymore. It looks like it must be winter. until one night the wind knocked over his rocket ship and woke him up. Bear had never been awake in the winter before. When he opened his eyes and he saw the snow, he thought he was on the moon. He climbed out of his rocket ship, he scooped up some snow, and he made a little moon cake. He called it moon cake because he thinks he's on the moon. Then he tasted it. It tasted like something he had tasted before, but he wasn't quite sure what it was. What does snow taste like? Water? While he thought about that, he decided to go for a walk. He didn't want to go too far because he was afraid that he would get lost. So he just walked in a big circle, and after a while, he came upon his own paw prints in the snow. He went all the way around, and then he saw his own prints.
These paw prints are too big to belong to a moon mouse, or even a moon raccoon, thought Bear. Maybe they were made by a moon bear, or perhaps, he shuddered, a terrible moon monster. Bear felt scared. He ran back into his rocket ship and he prepared for takeoff again. Again, he began his countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And again he fell asleep. This time he slept until spring. And look who's coming back. She migrated back north. One day his friend Little Bird returned and woke him up. How is everything down south? Asked Bear. Oh, just fine, said Little Bird. Did you get to the moon? Asked Little Bird. Oh, I sure did, said Bear. And how did the moon taste? Asked Little Bird. Was it terrible? No, replied Bear. It was delicious. Now, Bear had a little bit of a problem in this story. Bear and Bird were arguing about something. They were saying, how would the moon taste, right? But how would they know? So what did they do? Yep, they built a rocket ship to go to the moon. But who couldn't go? That's right, Bear had to migrate down south, but Bear was supposed to hibernate. He didn't hibernate until he did his countdown, right? Did Bear really get to the moon? No. He just had his rocket ship fall over and woke him up, and then he thought he was on the moon. What was moon cake? This book is called Moon Cake. What was it? It was snow. Now, this other book is called Transportation. So if that one was pretend, this one must be real. There's that big word, transportation. It's written by Gail Gibbons. She wrote the words, so she is the, author, and she drew the pictures. So she's called the illustrator. Transportation by Gail Gibbons. Gail Gibbons writes lots of books that are real. What's Mrs. Casamasa's library word for real? Not pretend, not fake. It's nonfiction. Transportation is what people use to get around. They choose what works best to get from one place to another. You could drive in a car, or a van, or a train, or a ferry boat, or a jet plane, or a motorcycle, or a bus. Cars and other vehicles. Drivers and passengers travel on roads and on highways. Ooh, trains. This one's an elevated train called an L. Rides on tracks that are high. People ride on trains that move along tracks. And in the air, here's a small propeller plane. This one's huge. It's a large jet plane. Some people fly through the sky in airplanes. Oh, here are some boats. This is a small power boat or motorboat. This one's a huge cruise ship that has a swimming pool on it, probably. People use boats to move across the water. Some people travel short distances while others go to faraway places. So you have to pick the right kind of transportation for how far you're planning on going. Cars and other vehicles. There are many different sizes and shapes of cars and other vehicles that travel on roadways. There are many ways for people to get around. This one's pretty cool. It's a convertible. It doesn't have a top. Oh, there are some bikes up here. Many people depend on public transportation, like buses and taxis. Every day, many people travel to and from the same places, such as work or school. They're called commuters. They travel back and forth. Often people want to travel in comfort. Some ride in luxury vehicles like a big stretch limousine. Some people own vehicles that have all the comforts of home, like an RV or a camper. Some people have a camper that is on a trailer. Most trains run on 2 rails called railroad tracks. Passengers use schedules called timetables so they can decide which train to take. Some people ride subway trains through underground tunnels, and some ride in elevated trains, and others travel on the street level. We don't have many L's around here. In Europe, all the way across the ocean, they have a lot of high-speed rails. Many passenger trains travel to faraway towns and cities. Sometimes they have sleeping cabins and dining cars. High-speed trains move extremely fast. Passengers arrive at their destinations very quickly. And here are the aircraft. There's the passenger, a small passenger plane, and it has the propellers up in front. There's a helicopter. Oh, these are floater planes, like it has a pontoon on the bottom. In the sky, there are small and large aircraft. Helicopters and many planes have engines that turn propeller blades to make them fly. There are large propeller planes that carry many passengers. Jet planes come in many sizes and have powerful jet engines. And there are those engines right underneath the wings. Some jet planes are huge. They can fly many passengers to faraway places. Here are all the boats. Boats come in all sizes and are powered in many different ways. Some are work boats. Some are pleasure boats. Some are just for fun. Some larger boats carry lots of passengers. Cruise ships carry many passengers on trips to see many sights. Oh, transportation in space, like Moonbear wanted to take. This is the International Space Station, and it orbits around the Earth every 90 minutes. Astronauts, scientists, and other trained people from all over the world travel to the International Space Station. They study space travel and do scientific experiments. In the future, people may travel in many new ways. There are many ways for people to get around. There are many kinds of transportation. People are always on the go. There is transportation everywhere. And in the back it says important signs, signals, and navigational aids. Lots of these you've seen before, like speed limit signs and stop signs. You've seen signals. You've seen don't walk signs and walk signs. School zones, railroad crossings, bus stops. Lots of things that help us with transportation.